Good morning, everyone. Avoid the stressor and miss the better part. Avoid the stressor and miss the better part. If we look at our first reading, we can see it as a lens to help us to focus in on that particular part of the gospel that the church is wanting us to look at. We see Abraham has already listened to the Lord, and in fact, he has gone to the place where the Lord had called him. Very comfortable he was in his family land, his heritage. He was called to leave and to go. Well, he did that. He and Sarah went, and he received the prophecy. Your sons and daughters will be like the stars. I think the commentators tell us from the commentaries, probably about 70 or so, that's how old he was. So really this prophecy, when it's going to happen. Now, three angels come to him, and now they tell him, by this time next year, you're going to have a son. And it's that faith that Abraham exercises. He believes. He believes that God is going to bring that about. This difficult situation, and yet God is unfolding a prophecy, and he believes. Now, we come to this particular gospel, and it's very important that we keep this in mind, the context. So Jesus is making his way towards Jerusalem. Mary, Martha, Lazarus, they know each other very well. We know this from other gospels. There's a comfortability here. He stays with them. He's heading towards Jerusalem, and there's an unspoken truth here. Something's going to happen in Jerusalem. There's a stressor. Now, with that kind of context, what's happening? Otherwise, we got a superficial reading of things and saying, well, Martha is just one of those people that's busy, go. I'm one of those people. I like to get a lot of things done. I go. I can relate to Martha. But that's not really what's happening here. Okay? It's not Mary is a laissez-faire, kind of person that just likes to sit around and talk to people. My guess is that both of them would do what needs to be done, generally speaking. But now we have a situation. Their friend is going off to Jerusalem, and what is going to happen to him? It's a stress, it's a tension, it's a difficulty, and Mary is stopping and addressing it. What is Martha doing? Martha, she is busying herself because she doesn't want to look at the situation. Now, I know none of us do that, okay? But I think that's one of the points of how this is being unfolded in the gospel and preaching to us. That first we, in a situation like that, we have to stop. And if we focus on Christ, then things will unfold. And that we will find ourselves with the better part. I just came back from vacation. I was away with my mom, and then after spending 5 days at the beach with Mom, I got down to North Carolina to do some water skiing with some friends of mine. It was a very good time. Now, the Wednesday before we went on vacation, I got a phone call. There were 4 of us that were real close in seminary. Joe Crowley, priest of Hartford, John Schnelbrick, priest of Burlington, Vermont, Greg Stowe, priest of Providence, Rhode Island. So I got a text from Greg. Hey, my mom has an aneurysm in the base of her brainstem. They just started surgery. Would you pray for her? I was like, absolutely. I'm going to go offer Mass. Go offer Mass for her. And then I'm talking to Johnny on the phone, and we get another text. Hey, I just heard from Greg. He says she's out of surgery. She's talking to everybody. She's doing well. A little bit later on in our conversation, my conversation with Father John, I get another text. Something happened. I'm bleeding now, and we're having emergency surgery. And then the next text was, she's not going to make it. And I just said to John, and Father Schnobrick was just assigned to a new parish or 2 parishes. There's a school kind of associated with it. There's a lot of things that he needs to be doing. I think his first or second day there. So I'm scheduled to go on vacation with Mom on Sunday. And my mother is very understanding that I'm a priest and that I'm a people for all people, and that means that I'm not always going to be there for her. But she gets 6 days in the summer and 3 days at Thanksgiving. But I knew right away, I was like, John, we got to be at that funeral. And it was hard to call my mom and say, I got it. I knew that she would understand, and she did. But I could tell in her voice she was sad that I was not going to be there, that we're going to cut our vacation short. But I had to fly to Providence. And I did. And Joey was there. And John was there. And all 3 of us stood behind Greg as he offered the holy sacrifice of the Mass for the repose of his soul, of his mom, Jean. I got there early enough that I got to go to the visitation. The visitation, I walked in, and there it was. So Jean was laid out, and in her hands was the Maniturgium. The Maniturgium, so when a priest is ordained, okay, his hands are slathered with sacred chrism. So when you're baptized, all of us get the chrism anointed on the head. So the priest, when he gets ordained, his hands are consecrated. And you have the excess oil, and so after they're consecrated, you go into the sacristy and you take this garment and you wipe the excess oil onto that. It's called the Maniturgium. Maniturgium is Latin for hand towel. Okay. That was supposed to be a joke. All right. So, but it is true, yes, hand towel. And so the tradition is that you place that Maniturgium in the hands of your mother who has passed, and that when she goes to heaven and Jesus asks her, what did you give for the sake of the church? What did you give me? And she could say, here, this is proof that I gave my son unto you for your priest. We stood there behind Greg, and he buried his mom. He did a beautiful job. And we knew that this was the better part. That whatever we had, whatever the difficulties and challenges that there were going to be, and there were, getting there, that all the sacrifices were worth it because of the love of friendship. A faithful friend is a sturdy shelter. The one who finds one finds a treasure. So these stressors that come, this is a homily that orients us towards the future. They will come. Maybe there's one right now in your life, I don't know. But we all will tend to Martha, to busy ourselves, to avoid the situation, to avoid what we really need to look at, to avoid what we really need to be present to. And when we realize, that's what I'm doing. I'm just going from one thing to the next. I'm busying myself, and now I realize I need to stop. And I need to follow Mary in her example, and to sit at the face and the foot of Jesus and choose the better part. When we do that, that's what we'll find. When we look at the stressor, we will find the better part.